Hi everyone, it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we are making the Offbeat cardigan. You can see here I have a boy option and a girl option. You can make it for anybody. So I'll get into the supplies and then we'll get into making this cute little baby cardigan. Big thank you to WeCrochet KnitPicks for providing the yarn for this project today. In this tutorial, I am going to be demonstrating this pink and green cardigan, and this cardigan is made using KnitPicks Mighty Stitch yarn. Now for the main color, I'm using 2 balls of this KnitPicks Mighty Stitch in this pink color pucker, and so that's almost 400 yards I'm using of this. I have a little left over, as you can see. I used 1 full skein and then I still have a half a skein left of the main color. And my second color is this green color. I lost the label on it. I think this is called Grass, but don't quote me on that. If you know the color, leave a comment on what color this one is. But that's the second color, and I used only 1 skein. So you need 3 balls of yarn, 2 of these and 1 of these, if you're going to do the same color as me. For this other one here, I'm not demonstrating this on camera, but it is the same one in a different yarn. This is Brava worsted yarn. This one I used, again, 1 ball of my accent color, which is this blue color in denim. And then my other color that I used is my main color, and it is, I'll tell you the name of it here. I used Asphalt Heather. So I used about 400 yards because the whole back side is the main color, and then the striping and everything. Don't have that skein with me. So this one is made in Brava worsted, and this one that I'm demonstrating today for you on camera here is made in this KnitPicks Mighty Stitch. Now all the links are in the description where you can purchase this yarn, where you can find it if you want to make the same exact one as me. If you can't find this yarn, go to yarnsub.com, type in the yarn I'm using, and equivalent yarns will show up. It's just a worsted weight type of yarn, size 4 medium. Also, you are going to need an H size crochet hook, which is 5 millimeters. This crochet hook is from the Etsy shop Would Be Fancy. I know you all hear me every time in my tutorials using these hooks and promoting these hooks because they are amazing. They're lightweight, they're a wooden handle, hand carved wooden handle crochet hook. It is ergonomic and it's great to work with bigger projects. So I really like these hooks. We're using an H size hook, which is 5 millimeters. You're also going to need a scissors, a yarn needle, and some buttons. You can use 3 or 4 buttons. I show you how to make buttonholes, and you can decide if you want 3 or 4 buttons. So those are all the supplies you're going to need. Frequently asked questions on sizing. I do not have sizing for smaller or bigger sizes. This is just a toddler size. My son is 1 year old, and this was a little bit big on him actually. So he's wearing about 2T, which is like a 24-month old baby, 2-year-old baby. I know he's a big boy right now. He just turned 1 at the time of us filming this video. And my niece is 5 months older than him, so she's around the same size. So I made these both the same exact size. If you want to make this smaller, I would just recommend using a G hook, which is 4 millimeters, or an F hook, which is 3.75 millimeters, if you want to make this smaller. But I don't have stitch counts. I'm sorry. And for bigger sizes, you can go up to an I hook if you want to make it a bigger size, but this is the only size available, and this written pattern is available on YARNutopia.com, so make sure you check the links in the description of this video where you can get the written instructions. All the written instructions show all of what I'm talking about here, links to where you can get all of these supplies, as well as color changes and the sizing measurements and everything. We are doing the alpine stitch on the back. It's so pretty, just a solid color. And then we're making the front 2 panels separately and then sewing them up the sides and on the shoulders. And then we are adding the sleeves later. And then obviously the buttons as an accessory. So I showed all that in the information in this video, and I hope that you learned something today and can make this cute little garment for your little one. I would love to see photos on the Facebook if you should make this, so make sure to share your photos on the page or on the group YARNutopia World. All my social links are in the description of this video, so you can follow me everywhere, and hashtag YARNutopia on Instagram. Big thank you to KnitPicks and WeCrochet for providing this yarn today. Thanks to you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit the like button, thumbs up, YARNutopia, and thanks to my dad for filming this tutorial for all of you and posting it up on our YouTube. Alright, let's get started and make the Offbeat Baby Cardigan. To start off, we're going to use our main color and we're going to make the back panel first. So let's start off by making a slip knot. Put your short end over your long end, then fold this down and then pull your long end through and pull tight, and there is your slip knot, and insert your hook and we can start. So we are going to start off for making the back panel, the whole back side. It says to chain 47, so yarn over and pull through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to make you watch me chain 47, so just do that and I will be right back. Alright, I chained 47 here. This is what it should look like. Now, if you need it wider or smaller, if you're making this bigger or smaller, chain any multiple of 5 plus 2. So I chained 45 plus 2 is 47, and this is what I caught and came up with. So now, going on to row 1, we are going to double crochet into the third chain from the hook. So the loop on the hook doesn't count as anything. So count 1, 2, 3. This chain right here, we are going to yarn over. I like to turn my chain toward me and work in the back ridge right here, but you can work in any loop that you want. So going into that third chain from the loop, or from the hook, sorry, third chain from the hook, we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, just like that. Then yarn over and pull through 2 loops on your hook, just like that, and then yarn over and pull through with those other 2 loops. That is a double crochet. So we're going to double crochet into each of these chains now, all the way across. So yarn over, go into the very next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're just doing that all the way across the chain. Once you have row 1 finished, just by double crocheting in each chain, I'll come back and I'll show you how to go on to row 2. Alright, just finishing up row 1 here. So you should have 45 stitches across, just a simple double crochet row. So now going on to row 2, we are going to, let's see here, row 2 is one of our repeat rows. So we're going to chain 2, so yarn over, pull through 1 and 2, turn your work around, okay, and we are going to double crochet into this very first stitch where our chain 2 is. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch anytime, okay, so you can yarn over, go into this regular double crochet just like this, and just make a regular double crochet. Okay, I say regular because we're going to do front and back post stitches in this part here. So now on this very next stitch right here, we are going to make a front post double crochet stitch. So yarn over, go on this side of the post here, around to the other side, yarn over, pull through, just like that, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, that's a front post double crochet. Now we're going to alternate these 2 stitches all the way across. So in this next stitch right here, just put a regular double crochet into the stitch. Then front post double crochet on this next stitch right here. Okay, and you don't want to skip any stitches and you don't want to put extra stitches in there, so make sure that you're doing each stitch is worked into. So in this next stitch right here is the double crochet stitch. We're not working in this stitch here because our front post double crochet is worked on that one. Okay, just like this one here, You can see the stitch in the back there, but our front post double crochet stitch is worked on that. Okay, so we're just going to alternate these two stitches all the way across. So front post double crochet on this one, and then a regular double crochet on the next. And just look in the back of your work to make sure you're just skipping one here. Back here, it's not being skipped, but for your regular double crochets it's skipped because the front post double crochet is on there. I hope that makes sense. You can obviously see what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to alternate these two stitches all the way across, and then I'll show you how to go on to row number 3. Alright, and when you're finishing this row, you can see I have a front post double crochet on this stitch. Don't forget this very last stitch here gets a regular double crochet in it. Okay, just like that. Now, this is what my row looks like. You can see the texture of the front post stitches looks really nice. So now we are going to go on to row 3, and row 3 is similar to this row, just kind of working opposite, and also working with back post stitches instead of front post stitches. So this work right here on this side, every side you're doing the even side or even rows, that side is the right side of your work. That side means that it's going to be the outside of your jacket or your cardigan. So this is the outside of your work. Now I'm going to turn my work around, and this will be the inside of your jacket, or the inside of your work, okay? They consider this the wrong side. So now I'm going to chain up 2, 1 and 2. That, again, does not count as anything. And now on the first stitch we are going to put a regular double crochet. That is for every row. The first and last stitch gets a regular double crochet. Okay. Now the stitches that were front post double crochet stitches, like this one, now it looks like a back post stitch because we're looking at the back of it. This stitch we are going to put a regular double crochet into it. Okay, so I know we just did a regular double crochet here, but we're going to do a regular double crochet in that stitch as well. So yarn over, just go into the top of the front post double crochet stitch right there. Just go into the top of it and make your regular double crochet stitch. Now on these regular double crochet stitches right here, we are going to put a back post double crochet stitch on, okay? So yarn over, go to the back of your work around this post, okay, to the back side again, then yarn over and pull it through. I'm going to try to show you the best I can here. Okay. Then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. That's a back post double crochet stitch, as you can see there. Okay. So we're just going to alternate those 2 stitches now all the way across. When you see this stitch that looks like a back post stitch now, but on the previous row it was a front post double crochet stitch, we're just going to put a regular double crochet into those stitches. And then the regular double crochet stitches on this row, like this, we are going to put a back post double crochet. So yarn over, go to the back of your work around the post to the back side again, then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and we're just going to alternate those 2 stitches across. And you want to make sure that they are lining up with your work. This is considered the alpine stitch. If you'd like to learn more about the alpine stitch, you can see many tutorials online on all the things that you can make using the alpine stitch. I actually do have a crochet tutorial on YARNutopia.com for the alpine stitch mittens, and it is using this same exact technique. So I'm going to switch my work around so you can see the front of my work and how it looks with the post stitches. And that is the alpine stitch look. So we have front post stitch. This looks like a front post stitch now because it was our back post double crochet in row 3. Okay, so this is row 2, row 3. You can see the front posting stitches. And this is the outside of my work here. Right now I'm working on row 3 and I'm looking at the back of my work. Like I had said, the odd numbered rows are looking at the wrong side and the even numbered rows are looking at the right side. And all of this information is in the written crochet pattern on my website. This whole back panel is just plain pink here on this one that I'm showing in the tutorial, but you can make this any solid color that you like. And at the end of row 3 I will come back and show you what to do next. Alright, when you finish row 3, I have my double crochet here, and just like we did in the first stitch, we are going to put a regular double crochet on this last stitch of this row. Okay, so the first 2 stitches of this row and the last 2 stitches of this row get a regular double crochet. So now what I need you to do is repeat rows 2 and 3 till you finish row 20. So chain 2, turn your work, and now if you need to, rewind this to see what I did for row 2 here, and then row 3, and just repeat row 2, row 3, row 2, row 3, row 2, row 3, until you finish row 20. Row 20 will be a repeat of row 2. So I'm just going to put a regular double crochet in the first stitch, then front post double crochet on this next stitch, and then alternate these 2 stitches all the way across, and then for row 5 it's a repeat of row 3, and then row 6 is a repeat of row 2. Row 7 will be a repeat of row 3, and now I'm getting confused because I screwed up already because I'm counting and talking. Sorry. So just repeat rows 2 and 3 until you finish row 20. Row 20 will be a repeat of row 2. And again, all of this is in the written crochet pattern on YARNutopia.com for the Offbeat cardigan. I'm going to do that. Once I finish row 20, I'll come back and show you what to do next. Alright, just finished row 20. I'm going to chain 1 now and pull this yarn all the way through. I just cut it, pull that through, and then pull tight. Okay, and as you can see, this is what it looks like. We just fastened this off. If yours is rolling like this, don't worry about that. We are going to work on that later to flatten that out. But it's just this nice little rectangular piece right now, and the alpine stitch, I mean, that is so awesome. Look at how nice that looks. Wow, love it. Okay, so this is the back side. I know it looks kind of short, but again, don't worry, because the front shoulder, the shoulders on the front panels are going to come over, plus we are going to do a trim around the bottom. So don't worry if it looks a little short, it won't be. So this is the outside of your work, okay? This is going to be the inside of your jacket. As you can see, it does not have the nice pattern. It still looks nice, but not the nice front post pattern on the back here. So this is the outside, and this is the inside, okay? We're going to set this aside, and we are going to start with the front left panel. I'm sorry, the front right panel on camera. I was going to teach you how to do the front right panel on camera, and then the left panel is for you to work on your own, and I'll show you why, because I have some pieces done off camera. So let me explain. Let me grab some more pink yarn, and then I'll explain how to do the the front right panel with you right now. Alright, I'm going to fold this and set this aside, and I have some pink yarn here. We are going to start off, I'll show you what I have done off camera, and we'll make it together then, okay? So for the left side that I'm not going to show you how to make, we change color every 4 rows, okay? Now for this piece, this is what it's going to look like in the end, but for this piece I ended up cutting my yarn when I changed the colors, and I sewed in my ends, okay, for each color change. So that is for this piece that is changing color every 4 rows, and that is for the, let's see here, the front left panel. I'm just looking at my pattern. For the right panel, for the front right panel, which is what I'm going to show you on camera, we change color every single row. Now if you don't want to do the offbeat style and you want both to be like this, you can change color every 4 rows for both sides. They are exactly the same in stitch counts and stitch making, like both sides are exactly the same. But this one I'm changing color every row, and this one I'm changing color every 4 rows. So I'm going to show you up until here on camera, and then I'll show you the rest, the top part, because it comes in like it decreases like this, as you can see on this piece. So that is what we're going to do. Now for this piece, if you want both sides also to be like this piece, change color every row. But we're going to do one this way and one this way, and that's why it's called the Offbeat Cardigan. So grab your pink yarn. Okay, if you're making the front left panel, start with green or your other accent color. But for the right panel, we're going to start off with a slip knot. You already know how to do that. And insert your hook. Oops, I got hooked on there. There we go. Hook in. Okay, so for both panels, these stitch counts and everything are exactly the same, just the color changes are different. So we are going to chain 25. So yarn over, pull through, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't have to watch me do that. I'll be right back. Alright, I have 25 chains. Now, just like row 1 of the back panel, we are going to double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. So I'm going to yarn over, count 1, 2, 3, turn my chain toward me, and work in those back ridges. You can work in any of the loops of your chain, whatever you feel most comfortable doing. I'm just going to double crochet across, okay? Exactly how we did the first row of our back panel piece. Okay, and that's it. So just double crochet all the way across this chain. Now you should have 23 stitches at the end of this row, and since we are working the right panel, I will show you how to change color immediately. If you are working the left panel, do not change color and just go on to row 2, and I'll show you how to do that next. Alright, when you have 1 chain left, if you are doing the right panel with me, we are going to change color. If you're not changing color, just finish this last double crochet like you would, chain 2, and then go on to row 2. But I'm going to change color here, and this is how you would if you're changing color every 4 rows, like this panel here. If you're at this point right here on your piece, you would change color exactly how I'm about to show you. So just keep that in mind. I guess it's not exactly, we're cutting our yarn for this one. For this piece here that I'm working on, we are not cutting our yarn, and I'll show you exactly what to do. We're going to yarn over with the color we're working with. You can see I have my green yarn here. So we're going to yarn over with the color we're working with, go into that chain, that very last chain, yarn over with the color you're working with and pull it through. Then yarn over with the same color and pull through both or 2 loops on your hook only. Okay, so now we have 2 loops left. We're gonna hold our finger there, drop this yarn, pick up our green yarn, hook that on the hook just like that, and pull it through those 2 loops to finish the stitch. Now this might come loose, so you want to pull this strand, this old strand, tight. Okay, make sure everything is pulled pretty tightly, just like this. Now we're going to be chaining with the new color. I have green here, so we're going to chain 2 and go on to row 2 by turning our work around. Now row For every row that we go up, the chain 2 in the beginning does not count as a row. And for the right panel, we are going to be working over the top of our old color. So pick this old color up. Okay, I know it's going to be a little strategic here, but we're working with green now, and we're working over the top of pink. So yarn over, okay, work underneath that strand. This is the working yarn here. Go into the very first stitch that we chained up 2 here and make a double crochet, and we're just double crocheting across, so it's very simple. It's the hard part is trying to work over the top of this pink strand. Once it's locked in, it's a lot easier, and we're just going to work across there. So now we have it secured. Just hold it like this. I just hold it in my ring finger, and my pinky and my thumb is kind of resting like this. So we're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, make sure you're working over the top of this strand, okay, because we are going to, at the end of this row, since we're changing color every row, I just thought it'd be easier to just trail it along underneath my stitches and then pick it up at the end when I'm at the end of this row, and I'll show you how to do that exactly. So I'm just going to double crochet across, just like this, working over the top of my pink working yarn. And as you can see here, I've dropped these 2 down. I'll sew these in later. So I'm just going to, oh, it got a little blurry there. Focus, there we go. So we're going to just double crochet across, and I'll come back and show you how to go on to the next row when we're going to change color again. Alright, now I have 1 stitch left, and we are going to change color back to pink, but first I wanted to show you, this is what it's going to look like on the back side. As you can see, I'm not sure if you can see, in between my stitches of the green, there's kind of like some like raggedy loops here that are very unattractive, and it doesn't make my work look very neat. So what I'm going to do is pull this strand that I was working over the top. I'm going to pull it tight, and it's going to cinch this tighter, just like this, but I'm going to stretch it again. And not stretch it too much. Okay, I'll show you how to, if you stretch it too much like this, you'll see it underneath those stitches, and in the back here, you'll see, I guess, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it, and it looks terrible. So you don't want to stretch it too much, because then you'll see that strand underneath your work there. So you want to take that strand, pull it, oh, don't pull your working yarn, just pull the strand that you worked over the top of, just pull that a little bit, okay, make sure it's all tight and tensed up, and then just pull it just enough to get the tension that you want, okay, just like that. And that looks good, and that way you won't see that strand in between your stitches. So going on to the next step, we're going to change color for row 3, and we're working with the pink yarn. We're going to change color back to that. So yarn over with your green, or your main, or your accent color, sorry. Pink is my main color, green is my accent color. So go in with that. Okay, into that stitch, still working over the top of the strand. Yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now drop your green, or your accent color, pick up your main color, yarn over with that, and pull that through. And there you've changed back to pink. Now chain 2 and turn your work around. Okay? Now don't worry about this line here, we are going to crochet over the top of that later. So we're going to pick up this green and put it over this row, and we are now going to work along this row, working along the green, repeating exactly what we did for row 2. Okay? And we're going to do this until we finish row 17. Okay, so just double crochet in the first row, first stitch here, working over the top of our strand, double crochet across. Pick up the other color at the end of this row, just like I showed you, and change color every single row. until I finish row 17. Once I'm done with row 17, I'll come back as we're going to start decreasing. Color changes will stay the same. We're just going to change color every row for the right panel, but we're going to start decreasing. Also, just that tip, just keep pulling at this so that the strand is not loose underneath them. But again, don't pull it too tight because it'll cinch everything too tightly. So just enough. Just like that. It just makes it look neater. I don't know, just a personal preference maybe. Anyways, I'm going to continue this, and then once I finish row 17, I'll be right back. Alright, I'm just finishing row 17 here, and I'm going to change color, and for row 18, we are going to start decreasing. Alright, so turn your work this way. Okay, still doing the same concept, working over your old color. Picked up our new color here. Now we're going to decrease. So yarn over, go into the very first stitch. Let me just get my yarn over here. There we go. So go into this very first stitch that we chained up 2 in. Yarn over and pull through. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over again, go into the next stitch right here. Yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So now we have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops, and that is a double crochet 2 together stitch. Okay, just like that. Now I'm just going to double crochet all the way across here until there are 2 stitches left. On those last 2, I'll do another decrease, and I'll meet you up when I do that because we're going to change color at that point. But just double crochet like you were in the rest of these rows, working over that strand, and just double crochet into each stitch. And I'll show you how to decrease on those last 2 stitches. Alright, I have 2 stitches left. I'm going to decrease on those, but I'm also going to turn back to the pink color. So yarn over, go into this first one here, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, go into the last stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then instead of yarning over with this yarn, we're going to drop that, pull up the pink here, yarn over with that, and pull that through all the way. Okay, just like that. And then we are going to chain 2 and turn our work around. Now we're going to decrease again, and I'm running, as you can see, I'm going to play yarn chicken and lose. So I have to grab more pink yarn here. But we're going to decrease on these first 2 stitches and repeat that last row, row 18. Repeat row 18 for rows 19 through 23. Okay? I know the back panel only had 20 rows, but this front is going to have 23 rows because of the shoulder. So yarn over, working over your old color here. Go into that first stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, oops, 2 loops. Yep, I'm going to run out of yarn here. Let me grab some more yarn and I'll be right back. Okay, yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So we have all 3 loops on the hook now, yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops, and there you have your double crochet decrease. I just changed my yarn, so I have an end to sew in there. But now we're just going to repeat same concept as we did on that last row for the rest of these rows. For rows 19 through 23, we're repeating row 18. Just decrease on the first 2 stitches and the last 2 stitches of your rows, and on row 23 you'll have 11 stitches across. Okay, for this right panel, this right front panel, we are going to change color every row, and for the left panel you're only changing every 4 rows. With the left panel, let me set this down real quick. As you can see, row 23, there's only 3 of these rows, okay? So there's 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and 3, okay? So it's 4, 8, 12, 16, 23, okay? So that's what that looks like. And then we're going to have this. When I finish row 23, I'll come back and I'll show you what to do next. Alright, I'm just finishing row 23. I'm going to yarn over with my regular color, the color that I'm ending on, because we're going to fasten off. So you don't have to change color to fasten off. So I'm just going to do that. Chain 1, cut my yarn long for sewing, and then I'll cut this old color here short, and I'll sew that in, and then I'll pull this all the way through and pull tight, and this is what your piece should look like now. We have 11 stitches across the top here, and you can see the decrease because we repeated row 18 for these last few rows here. Okay, so you need to make 2 of these exact stitch counts, but you can change color whenever, however you want. In my written pattern, I show where and how I change color for the left panel, the front left panel, and the front right panel. The front right panel is the one we did on camera here. This one I changed every 4 rows for the color. And like I said earlier, I did cut the yarn after each color change, and I sewed in my ends. I did not trail it along the rows like we did on this one. Okay, so now that we have this finished and our back panel finished, I'm going to lay this down, and we are going to lay this on top. Cool beans. Now, what we need to do actually is sew this. See how these shoulders come up higher than the back panel here? Because this is going to go over the shoulder like that and attach to the back panel like that. So we're gonna whip stitch all of this together to make like a vest, and then we'll do the sleeves last. So what we actually have to do is flip this so we're looking at the right side, and then flip this one to this side and flip this one to this side. Okay, well, it really doesn't matter which side you put each of these on. And you can choose which side you want to be the outside and which side you want to be the inside. Okay, so I want it like this, and I want it like this. Okay, and now what we're going to do is sew the shoulders across first, and then we'll sew up the sides. Okay, so let's see here. We are going to sew, so there's 11 stitches on this part here, so we're going to count in 11 stitches on this piece here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we're just going to whip stitch this. Okay, so just go in from this side and then out this stitch here. Okay, just going through both layers. So through this next stitch and this next stitch, just like that. And we're just going to whip stitch this all the way to the end, and then I'll show you how to fasten off. Alright, when you sew this all the way across here, we're going to fasten this off. So let's go into a couple of stitches here. Pull this loop here, hold it in your finger, come back through the loop, and then pull tight, and that creates a knot. Okay, and you can do that 2 or 3 times to secure that, and then we'll just sew in this end as we can hide it underneath these stitches, just like that. And then you want to do that to the other shoulder as well, and I did that one off camera, so I'll show you in just a second. And then we're going to sew up each side. So you can see I just sewed in that end, and it's invisible now, it's hidden. So I did this shoulder as well, okay, just sewed that just the same exact way. And now we're going to sew up these sides. We have to leave room for an armhole, so what we're going to do, I'll show you this side since I was working on this side. We're going to line this up with the bottom, and as you can see, this will fold over to the back. That's fine because when the baby wears it, it's going to go over the shoulder like that, okay? So just don't worry about that folding over. Line this up with the bottom. Grab your main color yarn. We're going to sew, whip stitch it, just like that. Make sure you're whip stitching inside out because you don't want it to look weird afterwards. So you can see here the alpine stitch is on this side. This is going to be my outside. So this is inside out right now. Okay, so I'm just going to line this up here just like that, and we're just going to whip stitch this closed. So I'm going to come all the way up to about row, let's see here, come to about here where I start decreasing, so about to row 17 there. As you can see, there's 4, 8, 12, 16, and 17, so right to about here. And I'm not sure if that's actually enough room. I mean, that looks like enough room for like a baby arm. I mean, I can fit my whole hand through here, but maybe I want it just a little bit lower. So maybe to around 16. That looks like a little better. I mean, yeah, I can fit my arm in it, and it's like, this is for a baby. So that should be good. Just test yours out where you want it to be. You can put a stitch marker there to kind of keep it in place if you want to, but I'm just going to sew it up, and when I get to that point I will stop, and all I'm going to do is just whip stitch. So I'm going to start on this end, grab this side, and just go wherever my needle kind of fits is where I'm going to fit it, just like this, and just going around and around the edge, just exactly like sewing, like around. Okay, so do that all the way up until you want to stop where there's an armhole. Obviously you don't want to go all the way up, so make sure you stop about here. Right in this area is where I'm going to stop. That will be for the armhole. So I'm going to do that, and then once I finish with that, we can go on to the next step. Alright, when you have a big enough armhole where you're comfortable with, we are going to fasten this off. So just like I showed you for the shoulder part, just go through a few stitches, keep your finger in the loop, and then come back through the loop and pull it tight. Okay, and that creates that knot. And like I said earlier, you can do that twice or 3 times. And sew that in, and you can weave in that end. Also do it to the bottom part here because this was attached to the ball of yarn, and I just cut it, and you can sew this one in, or tie a knot and then sew this one in as well. So I'm just going to do that real quick. Just go through a few of the stitches, keep your finger in the loop, come back through the loop, and pull tight. Okay, and then you just have to do the same exact thing to the other side to create an armhole there. And I'll show you what I did. So I'll sew those 2 strands in off camera, but I did this side off camera here. Okay, so I have this armhole, and it's equal to this side across here. I just went all the way across. Now we sewed this inside out, so I'm going to now put this right side out, and as you can see when we flip this, you can see it looks really clean and nice where we seamed it. That's why you should do it inside out, because it just looks better this way. It's just flat and nice. Looks good. Okay, so now we're putting this right side out, and it's a cute little vest right now. Cute little vest. But now I want to put sleeves, and I want to do an outer border. So what we're going to do, we'll start with the sleeve. And let me grab my pattern here. It says attach the yarn to the armpit section, and I need my other piece just to make sure what color changes I'm doing. So okay, we're doing 3 rows of this one. Ooh, uh-oh. Okay, so attach your yarn to the armpit area right here of, this is for both arms, okay? So whichever arm you wanted to start with, just go in there. Pull that through, that's your working yarn, and we are going to chain 2. Now chaining 2 does not count as anything, okay? We are going to double crochet wherever your hook fits. And we're going to equally double crochet 30 stitches around the armhole. So yarn over, basically wherever your hook fits is where you should put your hook, just like this. Put your stitches. So we're doing 30 stitches around. Now if you end up with more or less, you can just take it apart and redo and just space them out neatly and nicely. Just count and space them just right. Okay, and we're looking at the outside of our cardigan now. We are going to be turning our work every round for the sleeves as well. So I'm just going to double crochet around here just like this. It's kind of hard to explain because I'm working in the sides of my stitches now. I'm not working into actual stitches, but just kind of where my hook fits is where I'm going. So it's kind of just eyeballing it. And as you get to the top shoulder here, you can see I'm just going to put 1 stitch in here and 1 stitch on this side, and now I'm going down the front. Okay, and I just want to make sure I have 30 stitches. So I'll do that and then I'll come right back and show you the next round. Alright, I have 30 stitches evenly around, so now I'm going to slip stitch to the first double crochet stitch right here. Just go in, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. Now for this part on this sleeve, since it is on the side where there are thicker stripes, I'm going to do 4 rows of just pink, and then every row I'm going to change color just like how we did for this side of the cardigan. So we're going to change color every row. After 4 rows, I'm going to do 4 rows of pink, and then I'm going to start changing color. And the sleeve is 20 rows. We want to turn our work every time. So you can see I chained 2, turning my work so I can see the inside of the sleeve. And we're just double crocheting into each stitch around, 30 stitches around. Make sure not to miss any stitches or skip any stitches or have extra stitches. Just work 1 double crochet into each stitch around, and then slip stitch to the first stitch, chain up 2, turn your work, and go on to the next row, double crochet around. That's it. But now with this sleeve, I'm going to do 4 rows of pink and then change color every row, doing green and pink alternating. And I'm going to trail up my yarn as I go on this sleeve. But my other sleeve, I have thick stripes, and the color changes are listed in the written pattern on YARNutopia.com, which rows are which color. So you can follow along there, but I'll just set this aside real quick, and you can see the other sleeve I made off camera here. Folded it because it's a little long. So this is the sleeve I have. So it's just 30 stitches around, just a plain double crochet, and I have 6 rows of pink, 4 rows of green, 4 rows of pink, 4 rows of green, and ended with 2 rows of pink. That is 20 rows total. Okay, now on row 19 I did do a decrease. So what I'm going to do here for our tutorial today, I am going to do rows 1 through 18. And then I'll show you row 19 and how to do the decrease, because you want it to be a little tight around the wrist of the cardigan just so that it stays up over the hand. But I'm just going to just do this and do my color changes as I go. You don't have to watch me do my color changes, because if you want a solid solid sleeve, totally cool. If you wanted color change, I showed you how to change color earlier. You can do it that way, or you can see there are so many other tutorials online to show how to change color in crochet, so I am not going to show that in this sleeve. I'm just gonna make rows 1 through 18, just double crocheting around, slip stitch to the first double crochet stitch right here, yarn over, pull through and through, chain 2, turn your work around, and double crochet around, and that's it. So I'll come back though when I'm going to do round 19. We are going to decrease at that time. Alright, I am finishing round 18 here. I'm done changing color for this sleeve, so I'm just going to slip stitch with my main color here and turn my work, chain 2, and now we're going to decrease. So for round 19, we are going to double crochet these first 2 stitches together. So yarn over, go into this first stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Then yarn over, go into the next one here. Remember we did this on the front panels when we decreased for the shoulder? That is the double crochet 2 together stitch. Now we're going to double crochet a regular double crochet into the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to repeat that sequence all the way around. So double crochet 2 together, and then double crochet into the next 3 stitches. At the end of this round, you will have 24 double crochet, or 24 stitches around. So I'm just going to do that, and then round 20 is exactly like the rest of these rows, just double crocheting around. Make sure to obviously slip stitch to the first stitch, chain 2, and for your last round, if you are looking at the outside of your sleeve at this point like I am, then you don't have to turn your work to look at the inside. Round 20, you can look at the outside. You don't have to turn your work for the very last round if you're looking at the outside of your work. If you're looking at the inside of your work for this round, you may have done something wrong. But also, you can turn your work to look at the outside. If you want more or less rounds, obviously, your second to last round should be this decrease round that I'm doing here. So if you want to make your sleeves shorter or longer, just your second to last round needs to be this decrease round, and then your very last round needs to be the regular double crochet all the way around. And actually I'm finishing up right here, so you can just continue watching me. So like I said, I'm not going to turn my work. I have 24 stitches around, closing up there. It's going to be tighter around the wrist then to keep the sleeve up on the arm. Slip stitch to the first stitch there, chain 2, and since I'm looking at the outside of my sleeve, I'm not going to turn my work to look at the inside. I'm just going to double crochet around in each stitch. Again, for 24 stitches around. That's it. So I'll do that, and then once I'm finished with this round, I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so once you're finished with this round, let's see here, this was round 20 here. So I just did round 20. We're going to finish this off, slip stitch to the first stitch, and we're going to chain 1 and cut our yarn and pull that all the way through and pull tight, and we're going to sew that end in. But I want to show you what it should look like now. You have to do the other sleeve just like this. So you can see here, this panel is the thick stripes, so this sleeve is the thin stripes, and this panel is the thin stripes, so this sleeve is the thick stripes. Just for the design, I mean, you can do however many striping you want, or if you want it all to be this type of stripe or all to be this type of stripe, or all to be solid. It's totally up to you. That's creator's choice. But now I want to, because this back is rolling up, I want to crochet around this whole thing. So we're going to start in the back here. We're going to go all the way around this edge, around the bottom, across to this edge, up this side, and then back to the back. Does that make sense? I hope so. So we're going to go to the back of the neck here and attach our hook wherever, just in the center back somewhere. Boop, right here. And then I'm going to hook on my main color. Okay, you can choose your accent color or your main color. I'm just going to do my main color. Chain 1, and then we're just going to single crochet all the way around. So go into this first stitch that we just attached to, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. That is a single crochet. So we're just going in each stitch and down the sides around this whole edging. We are single crocheting, and we're going to do 3 rounds, but round 2 I'm going to show you how to create buttonholes. If you want your cardigan to have buttonholes, you don't have to have buttonholes if you don't want them, but for mine, I have buttonholes. Also, when you get in corners like this, where it's kind of closed here, instead of putting 2 stitches, I actually put 1 and I single crochet 2 together. So I go in, yarn over, pull through, go into the next section, wherever my hook fits, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And that kind of creates this little corner a little better. That's for this back part of the shoulder and this back part of the shoulder on the side here. That's just what I do, but you don't have to. It's just a personal preference when I'm crocheting around things. But now I'm going down this side here, so wherever my hook really fits is where I'm going to make a stitch. Just like this. Then when I get down to this corner here, I'm going to put 3 single crochets in this corner and then work along my bottom all the way across so that this starts to not roll up. And then once I get to this corner, put 3 single crochets into this corner, working up this side here. Then when I get here, I'm going to do that single crochet 2 together stitch. Just, again, my personal preference, and then make it back to the beginning. So that's what I'll do. I'm just going to single crochet around this whole thing. Once I'm finished with round 1 of single crocheting around this whole piece, I'll come back and show you round 2 when we make the buttonholes. Alright, I came back around. I'm going to slip stitch to the first single crochet right here. Go in, yarn over, pull through and through. And as you can see, we crocheted around the whole thing, putting 3 single crochets in this corner across the bottom, and there's 3 single crochets in that corner up to the top, and we are back to the beginning. So going on to round 2, we're going to chain 1, single crochet into each stitch around. Once we get down this side, I'm going to crochet a little faster so you can see what I'm going to do, because we are going to make buttonholes, and you can determine where you want your buttonholes to be. So right here where I get to this little corner here, I'm going to do the single crochet 2 together, just like that. And now we're down this side. So this is the side where I put my buttonholes. You can do it on the other side if you want, or wherever, or if you don't want buttonholes, just continue single crocheting around. But for me, I'm going to have buttonholes on this side, and I'm just going to show you a couple. I have 3 buttons to sew on here, so I am going to do 3 buttonholes. Oopsie, my bad. You see, when you're in a hurry, you make mistakes. There we go. So we're going to continue single crocheting down. And once I feel comfortable of where I want my first buttonhole to be, I'm going to chain. Okay, so about right there is the first button. So what we're going to do, I kind of just eyeball it really. What we're going to do is chain 3. You can chain 2 or 3. I'm going to chain 3 and then skip 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and then single crochet into 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then do that again. Chain 3, skip 3, single crochet into 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last buttonhole here. 1, 2, 3, skip 3, and then single crochet in the rest of the stitches around. And then I'll come back when I'm finished with this round. We're in the corner here, so I'm going to put 3 single crochets in the corner and do that for the other corner as well. And then once I come back around, I will show you how to finish with round 3. Alright, when you come back around, just slip stitch to the first single crochet just like last round, and going on to round 3, we're just going to chain 1 and single crochet around. In those chain spaces of the buttonholes, you'll put 3 single crochets in each one of those chain 3 spaces. If you chained 2, just put 2 single crochets in there. Just each chain is a stitch, so just keep that in mind when you're going down the buttonhole side of your work. But I'm just going to single crochet all the way around. Same concept in this little corner here, just single crochet 2 together, and then in the corners down below here put 3 single crochets to corner that off. But in each one of these, where are my buttonholes? There we go. This buttonhole, I'm going to put 3 single crochets in each one of these. Okay, so just do that all, and then just single crochet in each stitch all the way around. After round 3, we're done with this edging, and we're going to add the buttons, and then we are going to make a mini collar that is optional. Alright, when you finish round 3, just slip stitch to this first stitch right here. Yarn over, pull through, and then we can fasten this part off. So chain 1, cut your yarn, and pull that all the way through, and pull tight, and we can sew that in. But now I want to add the buttons, so as you can see, just ignore this marked stitch, that's for the collar, and I'll show you that next. But these buttons here, I have sewed on these 2 already, and I'll show you how to sew on this one. You need a long strand of yarn and your yarn needle, or a sewing needle works too if you have small holes in your buttons. And you want to line up the buttonhole to this side. Make sure that the bottom edge is lined up, okay? So line up the bottom edge, and then that is right where the buttonhole is, where your button should be. So this one is down here. Perfect. When I button that, these line up perfectly, okay? So you just want to make sure that the bottom of your cardigan matches. And then just go up to this next one where your buttonhole lies. That's where your button should be. So this third one here is what I'm going to do on camera. So I'm just going to bring this closer, line this up on how it should be. Take your time if you need to make sure that it is exact. Okay, so I just keep my thumb there, hold this piece, and then I pull this out because you don't want to sew the button to the buttonhole area. So just take this out and then go from the back and go into the buttonhole, and then go through the other buttonhole, or if you have 4 buttonholes, just sew the button down and then tie a knot. I'm just going to cut that here and then tie it in a knot in the back. Okay, that's how I do it. And then I just weave in these ends, and that's it. Okay, so you just take your yarn needle, I tossed it to the side here, but take your yarn needle and sew in those 2 ends just in the inside here. And that is how you attach the buttons. So you can do that for 3 or 4 buttons. On the sweater I made for Nasir, on the cardigan I made for him, I had 4 buttons. But for this one, this is for my niece, and I just made it with 3 buttons. There we go. Aww, looks so cute. Okay, so I have this marked stitch because I want to make a collar around this. So what I'm going to do is grab my main color, and we're just going to get right into it. I have, what you want to do is mark from where you slip stitched in the back of the collar here, count back 17 stitches. So this does not count as the stitch that you slip stitched into, so count 1, 2, 3, etc. all the way to 17. And once you get to the 17th stitch, hit your hook right in there. I had marked mine so it would be faster, so I don't have to count it on camera here. And then we'll just hook on our yarn, and you can do this in your main color, and chain 1. Alright, now we are going to make a collar. This is optional, so you do not have to do this, but just for my design I'm just going to do it. So we're going to single crochet into 3 stitches. So single crochet into this first stitch here, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, the next stitch single crochet, and the next stitch single crochet. Now we are going to half double crochet into, let's see, collar, half double crochet in the next 5 stitches. Yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. That's a half double crochet. So in 5 stitches, that was 1, here's 2, here's 3, 4, and 5. Awesome. Now we are going to double crochet in 27 stitches. So you know how to double crochet. That was basically this whole project. So just double crochet into 27 stitches, and I'll be right back when I do that. Alright, I double crocheted along the whole back, that's into 27 stitches. Now I'm going to half double crochet into 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we're going to single crochet into 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Now we are going to do another row. It says rows 2 to 4. Repeat row 1 doing that. So we're doing 4 rows total. Just repeat that. But after each row, focus, there we go. So after each row, we're going to, once I get back to this side, let me get it, hang on. Once I get back to the side for row 2, I'm going to actually slip stitch into this next stitch on my cardigan. Then for row 3, I'm going to go back, do repeat row 1, and then slip stitch into this next stitch on the cardigan, just so that it smooths out this, it's not such a blunt, straight edge here, okay? So I just want to make sure that you do that. So at this point I'm just going to chain 1, so you don't have to do it for row 1, but for the rest of the rows you can. So just single crochet in each single crochet, that's 3, and then half double crochet into each half double crochet, which is 5, and then double crochet into each double crochet, which is 27, and then half double crochet in the next 5, and then single crochet in the next 3, and for row 2 then slip stitch in the next stitch on the cardigan. Okay, and then just repeat that for rows 3 and 4. And you can make this as long as you want. If you want it to be a folded over edge, super folded over collar, it's going to start folding over now, but you can see it'll start to fold over. If you want to make it longer, go for it. I mean, this is just optional. Even if you didn't want one, you don't have to do this, but I'm just going to make this, and that is the collar pattern. So once I finish row 4, I'll come back and we'll fasten off. Oh, okay. Sorry. I wasn't ready, but we're good. So I just slip stitched into this next stitch here, and I'm going to chain one, just like this, and we are going to cut our yarn. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to pull it through here. Okay, so just repeat that row one, and you can see, I mean, you can make it as long as you want, but this is the collar. How fabulous. Looks great. You can fold it over, you can wear it up, kind of rolls. There we go. I'm going to sew in this end, and that's all I got to do. So thank you so much for watching and learning how to make the Offbeat cardigan. If you want to check out the crochet pattern, the written instructions with all the information about sizing and the color changes, you can check out YARNutopia.com. Make sure before you leave this video to subscribe to our channel, and make sure to hit the like button. I'm not quite sure what the like button does, but I would appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up. And also check out my other social platforms. You can find that in the description of this video, links to where I am at. Facebook, the Facebook group, YARNutopia World, the Snapchat, the Instagram, the Twitter, the Reddit, the Pinterest board. Get all your inspiration. Look at how cute this, oh my goodness. I got some shaping to do. Here we go. There we go. Oh my goodness, how adorable is that? I love it so much. There, pretty. Thank you so much for watching and learning how to make this, and thanks to KnitPicks, this is WeCrochet KnitPicks, for providing the yarn for this project today. Big thanks to my dad, who's over my shoulder filming this entire tutorial and editing it and posting it up on YouTube for everybody to watch. And thanks to you for watching. I'll see you next time. Happy hooking!